Hello, friends. So, starting with the heaviest component of investment planning specialist, that is the investment planning itself. Now, this is the component, as I explained earlier, has 60 percentage weight in the curriculum. That means you should expect around 45 questions out of 75 from this particular section only. So, what I've done is I've highlighted only the most important topics because you also know if you browse the entire file, you'll understand it's so big. So, what I've done is I've highlighted only those important components which you should be studying precisely without failure because these are some of the topics from which invariably questions come in exam. Okay, so starting with first one, so investment objectives, constraints, and suitability, wherein you would be studying various investor personalities like adventurer, celebrity, guardian, like so you got different and straight arrow, definitely. So there is one more. So you should be studying all these personalities properly, then potential tax issues. Surprisingly, what I've heard from the students in past that a few times they have had questions related to grandfathering. So learn that topic as well. Then different financial uh, stages in individual's life that is to be studied. You can just go through the book; it will highlight. And definitely defined investment goals. So you will have different goals which go on with different life stages, rise in wealth, fall in wealth. That is what we have to understand. And yes, investment policy statement. Expect a question from these topics. These are important. Now, moving further, do remember to study the SMART goals. When said goals, do remember to study SMART goals because you can have a question from this. There have students have suggested they had question related to SMART goals. So that is the topic you should be reading properly. Then further, as I understand in the old curriculum, we have had like many questions coming from dividend discount models, but here like the focus is more on theory, so we have very less number of questions which are coming from dividend discount model and all. So max to max one you can expect on equity valuation, nothing more than that. So don't spend a lot of time there. Remember basic like one stage, that is the constant growth, and then you got two stage model. So that's the one, nothing more than that you should be studying. Then further, bonds. This is where I liked it, that you have more weightage on bonds. And I'm a big follower of fixed income. So I do have a separate playlist on fixed income videos. Very quickly, I've explained different components of bonds, valuation methodology. So you can look at that playlist. Maza aa jayega aapko. So we have bonds, bond valuation here. And there is one more, preference share. So if you know how to discount equity shares, preference share has the same methodology. In fact, preference shares have the static dividend, hence it uses the zero growth model. So that is also you should be studying properly. Then yes, rights. So there are right shares. The valuation of rights is there in exam. So small topic in our textbook, but without failure, study this. Then moving further, we have bond valuation, as I said, then duration and immunization. Like whatever they could identify have been there in the curriculum, sab kuch dal diya. But as a student, like we have to study only the important components. It's a 1,000-page syllabus, understand? So we cannot study everything. So bond yields has to be studied. Then bond price and valuation techniques. How to find out bond price? How do you find out YTM? Like if you are given one bond characteristic and then you are having 50, 100 or 1,000 such bonds, what is the value of portfolio? That's what we have to study. Duration is important because many questions have been there in exam as suggested by the students related to duration. So like it's a mutual fund which are segregated based on Macaulay's duration. So you would be expecting no numericals. Huh? So remember, only theory related to duration. So you should be studying bond theorems properly. You would be studying all the principles of duration thoroughly. But I'm sad that there are no such question which has been asked related to modified duration and the sensitivity of the portfolio based on that, which they should have been. Old curriculum had it. This is not tested here, but do remember pricing bonds, as well as proper understanding on duration and sensitivity of bond, that is to be studied properly. Nothing related to immunization asked in exam, though that is there in our syllabus. Convexity, that is far away in our exam, because financial planners don't have to do all these things. This is what I teach to my CFA students. Then real estate has been important topic in our syllabus once again. So how do you find out prices of real estate valuation methodology? That has been very nicely narrated in textbook. So you can just open up the textbook, go through a couple of questions which are there, and you are done with this topic. Then we've got option strategy. So derivative has been explained in extreme detail. According to me, this is very funny to have Black and Scholes model, binomial model in a financial planner's book. So that is very surprising. And yes, fortunately, that is not there in the exams. That's the best part of it, but nobody knows. Like eventually they might introduce some numericals based on Black and Scholes models. Nobody knows. So as of now, it's not there. So derivative is a huge chapter. You can just learn basics of it. What is forward? What is future? What is call option? What is put option? I think you are done with it. Nothing to be studied further. And yes, you should know what is venture capital, what is private equity, what is hedge fund. That should be known to you. You can expect a few questions from those topics as well. Now, pooled investment. This is where the financial planner's competencies should be highest. Hence, this is the entire topic to be thoroughly studied by you. It should consider ETFs, ETNs, everything. So no exclusions, everything to be studied precisely. You can expect theoretical questions from here, and this should also be studied because planners should be very good at pooled investment products. So this is what you should be studying properly. Right? It also talks about the turnover, tracking error, everything. Okay, now talking about one more topic, that is risk and return, portfolio management. So compared to legacy program, I can see too much change in this particular section. Like we have had very classic numericals like that related to portfolio rebalancing, asset allocation. All those things have been muted now, and we have gone to most theoretical components. So it's good for students that you have only theory, but yes, those who like quantitative techniques, it's sad part for them. So we have to, like, first of all, understand what is variance, standard deviation. Then moving further, we have to understand what is covariance, correlation. Then we have to understand the portfolio techniques, then portfolio risk and return. Everything is to be learned. However, computation of standard deviation has never been there in our examination. They will never ask you how to find out covariance, correlation. Most of the things will be given to you in exam. So you have to know how to find out standard deviation of 2 asset portfolio, not even 3, only up to 2. Then yes, you should be able to interpret what is coefficient, what is coefficient of determination, coefficient of correlation, beta, all those things should be known to you. So interpretation can very well be there in exam. And these have been all-time favorite of examiner. You should be having a question related to Sharpe, Trainer, or Jensen in examination, sure shot. If they are not asking, I think that's an injustice to you. Then, yes, some basics of technical analysis can also be learned. Though that has got nothing to do with financial planner's competency, but yes, as a broad topic, you should be aware about it. Then, moving further, fundamental analysis you would be studying while you study equity. So top-down approach, bottom-up approach, P ratios, comparison, all those things you should study. Then there are no such questions, interestingly asked, which are based on time-weighted return, then money-weighted rate of return. They should be putting something on that. But since we are having less numericals, probably they are not asking those things. Now, investment theory. This is there in exam always. So you would be studying Markowitz's modern portfolio theory, William Sharpe's capital asset pricing model, efficient market hypothesis. Expect short question from this. Padh lena hai aapko ye. Then asset allocation. Yes. So this is where we had earlier syllabus numericals. Now we have gone to core theory here. So no exemption here. You would be studying all the types of asset allocation: strategic, tactical, dynamic, core and satellite, also rebalancing techniques, and active and passive portfolio management. Very important for exam. Then wealth management has been introduced as a topic. So as I said, you would be studying venture capital, private equity, hedge funds. You should be knowing it. But these are the things which you can simply read quickly. So I don't know what they can put from this particular topics. Now moving further, it is still global investment planning. It is having 80% component here. Behavioral finance. Expect 2 to 3 questions from this particular topic. So no exemption here. You would be studying everything thoroughly. So this is what concludes, or this topic concludes the global investment planning. Now, almost identical things are there in Indian investment planning. So you'll have some introduction to primary market, secondary market, third market, fourth market. So just go through it quickly. These are most of the things based on GK. What is IPO? What is FPO? What is rights issue? What is bonus issue? Right. So these are some of the GK based topics. Okay. Now moving further, what you should be studying properly is REITs and InvITs. They are there. So at least a question related to REIT I've heard from the student is always there in the exam. Then moving further, what you should be studying, that is KYC, FATCA compliances, and then prevention of anti-money laundering. So this is money laundering laws which are there in regulatory part. So that is also to be studied here. So there's prevention of money laundering, and this law is anti-money laundering. So I correct here. And mutual funds, of course, like Indian mutual fund should also be studied properly by you. And see, dividend, stock split, bonus, rights issue, everything, whatever we have studied in international will be there in Indian. So majority of the component in this curriculum is universal. Okay, now one more important topic that you should be studying is PPF. It has always been important. And then there are some more products which have been mentioned of India Post, like NSC, KVP, MIS, then Senior Citizen Savings Scheme, Sukanya Samruddhi, and SGB, right? And there is one more thing which I missed to highlight, that is SGB. That is also very important in exam. So study these things. Then further moving, you have got topics like, once again, investing in fixed income securities. So most of the things you will study in the global component, and these are some of the market structures, India, which is India specific, so that you can study like how treasury bills are issued, but there haven't been any question in exam related to this. Then moving further, the sixth topic is evaluation of ecosystem and client sensitivity in managing situations. So this you can simply go through. I haven't highlighted many of the things because many of the things you are studying in the global component. So it is overlapping concept. Then financial advisory and financial planning. So this is once again you can understand some taxation topics have been highlighted. So आपको पढ़ना है यहाँ पर. And what is the scope of advisory, that also you would be studying. And in the regulatory part, we have got one more important chapter, that is investment advisor regulation. So on an average, 1 or 2 questions have been from that. So in the next video, I would be talking about how do you study regulatory framework. Right. So this actually concludes the investment planning, both global and Indian. And I've highlighted only those topics which I understand to be really important for examination, which you should not skip from such a big curriculum. So this is what concludes our today's discussion. And if you have still some more questions, you can definitely put in the comment. I'll be happy to respond. And now we'll be meeting in the next session that will be of regulatory environment. See you.